Afternoon, Stampers. How is everybody? Welcome. My name is Judi Anderson from JudiStamps.com, and I'm an independent demonstrator in the United States and Illinois. So, welcome to my Facebook viewers and welcome to my YouTube viewers. I encourage you guys on Facebook to give me the thumbs up and hearts when you're liking something that I am doing. And sorry. Please share this video because that is the biggest compliment you can give me, as well as on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. I encourage you to just subscribe and hit the notifications so that you will be notified when I go live. So, welcome. And if you are watching, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get on my Facebook to make sure that I am on. If you are watching on replay, please let me know and just say replay in the comments. And, don't be scared to comment on anything. I will try to keep up with it as we go. Let me turn this down. I am live, I see. Got some people on here. So I'm just going to put this over here and hopefully not lose it. Hello, Christine. Welcome. So this week, Diane and I are collaborating on some of the bundles that are on sale for 20% off. Now, our mini machine, our cut and emboss machine, is 20% also. So in the United States, it's $48, and I'm not sure what it is in Canada. So if you're watching in Canada, please contact Diane, and she'll give you all the information that you need. Along with that, Stampin' Up! Has brought 10 bundles that you can use with the mini machine, and 3 of the bundles they have brought back, and those bundles are not they're available in the annual catalog, but they are not available as bundles. But just for this promotion for this month, they brought it back, the 3 of them, for bundles. I know one is Celebrate Sunflowers. Another one is the Artistic Flowers. I can't remember the third one. Sorry. But anyways, check with Diane and myself, and we'll let you know which ones those are. So I have chosen the Sweet as a Peach bundle. And this is a bundle that I absolutely love. I love the verses in it. It is found on page 61 of the annual catalog. And they show you some ideas there also. And, I just love the verses in there. I think that they are just fun, happy, put a smile on your face verses. I am also using the Playful Pets combo ribbon. It's actually twine, black and white twine, and then it's a red ribbon that has white going through it. I'm using the black and white baker's twine. So let's say we are going to turn around, and I just closed my catalog. I don't know why I did that. Oh my gosh. Now, I did change a couple things. Can you guys tell? I changed the position of my camera. So hopefully the lighting is going to be a little bit better. Let me turn off those lights so that we don't get all the shadows. And I'm going to turn to page 61 to show you the bundle that I'm using. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this. So this is the Sweet as a Peach bundle. It is so much fun. I love the coordinating designer series paper. We are using a little bit of that today. So this consists of the stamp set, Sweet as a Peach, and the peach dies. And these go together so great. I did have a little mishap last night. I was getting everything ready for my live today, and one of my stamps, these 3 little flowers that I wanted to use, I opened up my case and I took out these leaves, and it went flying in my stamp room. Now, my husband and I were down on our hands and knees looking everywhere. He goes, well, where did it go? I says, I don't know. It just flew off. He goes, was it on the floor? I says, I don't know. No, there's nothing on the floor, but we are on our hands and knees looking all over my desk, and we couldn't find them. So I thought of something else to do. This is the black and white twine that we're going to be using. I am also using a little bit of the You're a Peach Designer Series paper. I am using this pattern here and this pattern here. And we're making an explosion card. I am also using some of the All Together Designer Series paper. And I love black and white, as does Diane. And I was running low on my black and white Designer Series papers. So I thought, you know what, this has got some great patterns in it. So I'm using this. I wanted to use the stripes, but I held out on that. So let's get this stuff all out of the way. I need you'll notice my black mat is gone. I've been using my heat gun near it lately, and it's been warped. So I have to try to unwarp it. So I just have my countertop. So we're going to have some paper here. So let's move this out of the way. Let's talk about our papers. Like I said, I am using some of the All Together Designer Series paper. My card base is Flirty Flamingo, 5.5 by 8.5, and I've scored it at 2 1/8, and I want to fold each of those in. Okay, so I could tell you the second measurement going across my scoreboard. However, I find whenever I make a gatefold card like this, it's best to go from each edge and measure 2 1/8 in. It just seems they turn out a lot better and they meet perfectly. So that's our card base. Then I have a piece of basic white, and this measures 2.5 by 2.5, some basic black that measures 2 5/8 by 2 5/8. So that's going to give us a really tiny reveal. And then we have a piece of old olive that's 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, another small reveal. This is as big as that piece can be, so you'd have to alter these pieces, and it just works for what I'm doing today. And then I have a piece of basic white that measures 2 1/4 by 4, and you can alter this also. And then a piece of basic black that is 1/8 of an inch bigger, so it's 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. And then we have 2 3/4 by 4 1/4 old olive. We'll be stamping on those. Then I have a piece of Designer Series paper that measures 2 inches. Oh, see, I don't have my measuring here. I believe it's 2 inches. Yes, it's 2 inches by 9 inches. And then I have 2 pieces of the Designer Series paper. And the reason why I need this 9 inches long. So I'm going to be making a band for this. So we're going to be piecing that together, but it's going to be pretty simple. I'm going to show you how we do that. And then I've already put together these 2 pieces, and this measures 8 inches, and it's a total of 4 inches. Okay, and the reason why I already put this together is because I needed this to make sure it was adhered well, so that when I did some folding today, it didn't start coming apart. I feel a little bit of adhesive on here, so let me just take my adhesive eraser. So I've attached those. So it's a total of 4 inches by 8 inches. Okay, I'm going to take this piece and I am going to fold it in half, just like this. Okay, then I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to crease that. Okay, now I'm going to take each of these and fold it in half, bring it back and fold it in half this way. And I'm going to take my bone folder. Now I could give you measurements. It's actually scoring at 2 inches and 4 inches and folding, but I find that when I do it this way, it's better. It just comes out better. Okay, so I have that, and it's going in and out like that. Now I need to flatten it back out. I am going to take each corner and fold it down. So we're going to fold it down so it goes to that middle fold and lines up there. And we're going to take our bone folder. And to begin with, I'm only folding it in one direction. So I'm going to flatten that. And then I'm going to take the bottom and fold it up again. Now, like I said, I could give you other directions. Let me find my sort of middle line there. I could give you other directions to do this, making sure my, see, it's starting to come up, to make sure that it is all done, and I will give you that. So what it is when I have an X there. So you have this. So what you're doing is you're making an X from here across this line to the outside, and from this across to the center line. But what I find is people will do it just to this score line, but it's got to go all the way to that center score line. So that's why I just teach you to fold it this way. I just find it's easier if I tell you just fold it to the middle score line, to the center. Okay, let me get my bone folder here. Okay, and we're going to fold the top one down to that center line again. Kind of like making paper airplanes, right? How many of you, have made explosion albums? So we've got those. So they're folded in the middle, folded there, and we have the X's. Now I'm going to go on all those fold lines and fold them the opposite way, because I want to make sure that they are good and pliable. Now you are going to notice as I'm folding this on the back, I have some Scotch tape. So what I did is I cut my strips at 1 inch. I have about 3/4 of an inch showing. And then I just made sure it was a total of 4 inches. But where those two seams met, I knew that they on the outside they weren't going to be secured to anything, so I used some Scotch tape. So that's a little tip there. So if you don't have a 8-inch strip, you can always piece your pieces. You could also piece it in the middle someplace. Okay, so now we want this to score, these two this way, and you're going to pull up on the second score line like that and bring it to the center, and then these will fold in like that. Now, if you have folded on your score lines in both directions, it makes it super easy. So I want this to go down again. So I find those two score lines. I squeeze these two in, and this is automatically going to fold up. Okay, so it's going to fold up like that, and you're going to have this. So that's going to form the explosion. Now we're going to make this piece first. So that is where our 2 1/2 by 2 1/2 piece comes in. This 2 3/4 fits into that triangle. Okay, so if you did a 2 3/4 inch square for that, and that's going to secure that from bending on that middle score line. The only reason why you need that middle score line basically is for your X's. But this helps stabilize that. So we're going to go ahead and put that in now. I'm going to use my liquid glue because I want to make sure that that is down. So you know your base is going to be 2 3/4. So you can alter your other 2 squares and layer them however you wish. Okay, so we're going to have that just like that. I'm now going to take my basic black and I'm going to do the same thing. Fold that over. I just love how the black looks with this pattern. I love it with the blues in here also. I think the checkerboard that Diane used yesterday would be awesome also. So you're going to see this folds up like that. Okay, so got a little bit of adhesive here. It's sticking. Okay, we're going to set that to the side. We're going to take our square now and we are going to do some stamping. So in the center on this, I want to put reverse, you're as sweet as a peach. Okay, so we are going to just stamp that in the center of this and hopefully get it straight. I'm going to do it this way. And when this opens up, it's at a triangle. So if you need to know if it's straight, put it on your graph paper and line up the lines. That way you know your diamond is straight. And then you can just eye up your sentiment and put it right there. And we're going to let this dry a little bit before we do this. And what I did is I took two of the stamps and put them together so I could stamp them together at one time and not worry if one is crooked. This way, if they were crooked, both of them would be crooked and it would look like I meant that to happen, right? So we're going to leave that dry for just a second and we are going to work on some of our other stamping. So I need to grab a scrap of basic white and we are going to be stamping some of our images. So to begin with, we are going to do our leaves. In our leaves, I'm using Pear Pizzazz and Old Olive. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. Now, ink that up good. Then I am going to grab my sponge dauber, which I just had here. Here it is. And onto the Old Olive, I'm going to ink up that sponge dauber, and I am just going to put a little bit of Old Olive on some of the edges. Now, if you didn't have the sponge dauber, you could use your Stampin' Write markers and just do a line down one side. Not all of them are going to have this on them. And then I wanted a little bit of depth, so I'm taking my soft suede Stampin' Write marker and doing some of the branches. Okay, I'm not going all the way down because some of these are for the leaves, but just those branches. Then I'm going to huff. Oh, I used to love doing that when I did in-home workshops. And people go, oh, what are we doing that for? Well, that reactivates that ink. Look at that. So you've got two-tone leaves there. They're very subtle, but that's what the look I'm wanting. If you wanted a little bit of definition, you would definitely use your Stampin' Write marker. Let's put that to the side. I'm going to keep my Old Olive open. Now I'm going to reach for my Pale Papaya, and I just noticed I didn't grab my Flirty Flamingo, which is what I wanted. I'm going to use Calypso Coral. I'm going to get the same effect. Okay, just not the same coloring. Now I'm going to take and ink these up in the Pale Papaya, and I'm going to do the same thing with the Calypso Coral. I'm going to pick up some ink, and just on one side, I'm just kind of rolling this around. See, I'm just kind of taking it and rolling it. So we get that blush of the peach. Some of them will have a little bit more, some a little bit less. Let's huff on it again. And put it right here. Stamp it, hold it for a second, and there we go. Now that's definite lines, that's a lot darker. The Flirty Flamingo isn't as dark, but that's okay with me. Now I'm going to take the little leaf that is in there, image, just this little double leaf, take my Old Olive, and I am going to put a couple of leaves on my peaches. Okay, get this one. And this last one, I think I'm only going to do one leaf. I don't want them all exactly the same. We're just going to put a single leaf on that one. So we've got that. Oh, I've got two pieces of basic white. Okay. Now, while we have our Calypso Coral out, I am going to grab my blending brush. And, oh, I don't know if I want to use Calypso Coral, actually. And I don't have my correct blending brush. So let me make sure I get this red out of here. And I just want, you know what, I'm going to use the blue. Just because I have it right here. So I'm using my blending brush. And with my blending brush, I'm going to pick up some of the balmy blue. And I am just going to go around the middle here and just give a blush of the blue. Now onto our piece of basic white that measures 2.5 by 4 inches. I'm doing the same thing. Just while I have this out, I thought, why put it away? So I'm just going to add a blushing of blue at the top here. Okay, just a little bit. And it's just going to give it that little touch, that little extra something. Okay, you know what? I'm thinking that this might be too wide for my designer, my cut and emboss machine. And I'll bet Diane is sitting there thinking, Judi, oh no, it's just a tad bit too big. So we can trim it down. I know it can only be like 3.5 inches. So let's just trim this down a little bit. Let's see, I think right there would be good. And we're going to trim a little bit off the other side too. If not, I'll just have to trim around them and do that. Okay, we're going to grab our cut and emboss machine. And this is the mini one. And it is 20% off this month. And I've got some little flowers in there. And we're going to grab, I don't have the Post-it note tape that Diane has. Now you want to remember when you're using this that you stair step your plates. Okay, you can't go through with them all on the end like this because it won't work. You have to be at least past that step up. There's a little bit of a pitch. You can be just like this even, you know, just as long as they're not all together. So we're going to put that on here. We are going to grab our dies. So we need the mini peaches and the leaves right here. And that's one thing I like about this is we are going to be able to cut all of these peaches out at one time. We're just going to line this up, put it on there, grab a piece of Post-it note, or 2 or 3, whatever you need. And I'm going to cut it short because all I need is the sticky part. So I'm going to put that on there, line it up, and not move it. Hope and pray that that's lined up. I'm going to move it back there so I can see my leaves, and I can cut all this at one time. Now with the leaves, I line up these leaves and the side leaves, and they should all line up then and be perfect. There we go. I'm going to grab my Post-it note, get my sticky on there, and push it down. I'm going to tear this one off. Okay, we can run this through and cut all this at one time. So I love the mini machine just because I can take it with me in my classes. When I do my classes to go, I have an extra machine. When we travel, I bring it with me. It's not as bulky. And I can cut most of what I need out of it. So there's our peaches. And let's get our leaves. I'm just going to leave it all attached here. Oh, it did move just a little bit. I can see on my peaches, but that's okay. Okay, so we have those pieces and we're going to start creating now. So we have our centerpiece. You're as sweet as a peach. And I am going to take the peaches and I am going to clean my stamp off really, really good. Okay, now I know that some people cut apart these stamps so that they can stamp some single ones, but because the dies are made to cut these out at one time, I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ink up one of the peaches. And I'm going to choose this one right down here. Now, I could use a sponge dauber. I could ink up a Stampin' Spot for this. But I just use the corner of my ink pad and ink that up. I'm then going to grab that sponge dauber that I just moved out of the way. I'm going to huff on it because I already have ink. And I'm just going to roll that right along the edge. And I am going to, just to make sure I don't get the other ones on here, I want to just put a peach right down here. Okay, and I have a peach, and don't forget those little leaves. And now instead of going down with those leaves, we can actually go up because this one has been picked. So we're going to do this right on that side, just like that. Okay, we're going to put that in the center. Sure that's good and dry. Close up our ink pad so Judi doesn't get ink all over. I loved how Diane was making fun of me yesterday. Oh my gosh, you know, last week was not a good week, right guys? Oh, it just seems like I couldn't do anything right. This week is going a little bit better so far. So that is going to go into the center, and it gives me room to write and sign here. Put that to the side. So let's get to the rest of our pieces now. I have this piece that has the little bit of blue blushing on it. And let me grab this, my Memento ink, and I am going to stamp at the bottom of this, thanks so much. Okay, stamp that right down there. Clean that off. Now I'm going to grab one of my punches, and it's like the 1/8 inch punch. And I am going to punch a hole, right about here. Now, when you do this, you don't want to go all the way up to the edge. You want to leave a little bit of a gap, or else you get a little pinch on the bottom of your paper. So we've got that. I'm going to grab my twine. And normally for this technique, I do 3 times the width, but with this one, I'm going to do 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's just because I am going to make a bow on here. So I'm going to take the 2 ends. You guys have seen me do this thousands of times, but you guys say you never tire of this technique because you always forget how to do it when you do it. You're going to pull it up about 1 inch. With this one, I can pull more. I'm going to wrap this around. I'm going to split these legs so that that loop goes between them. And I'm going to just tie this like that and tighten it. Now, these go like that, and I will just tie a single knot. Now, that'll stay. That's not going to come undone. It's not loose. This is the greatest way to tie your bows, especially if you have ribbon. Just tie them off. But now, I'm going to show you. You can tie a bow, and it will stay. And I need to pick this up so it's closer to me so I can kind of see it. There we go. And I'm going to pull it tight. Now I'm going to adjust the tails, and I know I'm going to trim them off, but when you're doing bows, it's better to have a little bit of excess. We'll trim that in a minute. We're going to get our layers. So we're going to go ahead and layer our black onto our old blue instead of the old olive, because I was going to stamp some flowers in between some of the designer series papers. And because that stamp went flying, we couldn't do that. I do that very often to customize my designer series papers. Okay, we're going to go ahead and see my notes so I remember what size it was. That's because every time I do this, I do it a little bit different. It depends on the stamps I'm using. And then there we go. Okay. Now we have our dies. And I'm going to grab my mini dimensionals. Let's grab our take your pick tool. Okay, did you guys notice how when I say I'm going to grab that, it was right there? Well, I got some more of my storage containers, so I was able to customize my setup here. So hopefully every time I come on, I won't have a problem finding my stuff as long as I put it back where it belongs, right? That's the trick, you know. Always teach our kids, put things back where they belong, and then you'll know where they are the next time you go for them, right? It's just helping my grandchildren do their clean up their bedroom and their playroom, and that's what my grandson kept telling me, right, Grandma? We need to put them away, then we know where they're at. It's like, yes, Hunter. Okay, so we're going to do that. I don't like the way that looks. I'm going to grab my snips real quick. I kind of got way off with the die there. Just follow it up right like that, and nobody's going to know the difference, right? So we've got that. Then we have our 3 peaches. So what I'm going to do with those is I'm just going to roll them around my finger just a little bit like this. You can take your pick tool. You can take a pencil. You can take your bone folder. I just like to give them a little bit of a warp look, as I call it. And then we're going to take our dimensionals, put my glue back. This, like I said, this set, you guys, and we're getting to springtime. You know, we do a lot of canning and stuff in the fall when the peaches are ripe in the summer in that. I love making and I love making little labels for my jellies and stuff that I give away. I'm tucking it under some of the branches. And then some of the branches, I am going to leave them up on top. And this one, I'm going to take right here and have that go right there. Okay, so we're done with that. So next, we are going to do a belly band. So like I said, this needed to be 8 inches, and I did this 1-inch strip. And so we are going to go ahead and put some liquid adhesive on this and making sure I get that end done good. And then I'm also going to, I guess I'm not going to. I had my stamp and seal here. Oh no, I put it in a new spot. Okay, I know none of you do that. I know none of you put it where you won't forget where you put it, right? I'm just using some of that so that where these 2 lines meet up, they will not come up. And you could do this evenly down the middle. You could do one side a little bit higher than the other. It's totally up to you. I'm going to rub that on there. Make sure that these go in the same direction when I adhere them. And so now remember, this All Together paper is 6x6 paper, but don't hesitate using it on projects that are larger than 6 inches. It's doable, you guys. Okay. I could have split it in half because we are actually going to do this belly band. Okay, so we have all our pieces together. Now we want to do our explosion. It's going to be on the inside. Now this is my hint to you. You want to use tear and tape or your liquid glue. I'm going to use tear and tape just because it's quicker and I don't have to hold it as long. So I'm going to use a combination. I'm going to use some tear and tape on here. And then on the corners, I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue. This way it sticks right away and the corners will also stick. So as you can see, I'm putting it down the 3 sides. Just like that. Then I'm going to close this side and I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Running it down the middle. Yeah, you want to make sure the Stamp and Seal Plus would work. I know I saw that question pop up to whoever asked that question. I just don't have mine loaded in my or handy right here. I have a tendency of using tear and tape a little bit more. Let's put this and my liquid glue. Okay, so the trick is you want to rub that really good. I usually take my bone folder and rub it. That way when you go to peel it, it will come off a lot easier. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and peel it up. And then I will put the liquid glue on once I have both sides peeled up. Let's peel it from this side. I don't know how, but the tip of my Take Your Pick tool got a little bent, so I don't know what happened. It happened during one of my classes or whatever, when it happened, or if I did it, but I noticed it's got just like a little bit of a pinched hook on it. My husband said he could fix it for me. He says, oh, that's easy. I think it's just because it was a little bit pointy and you press too hard on something, which could be. I'm known to be a little rough on things sometimes. Okay, got that? It's all sticky. My liquid glue. I'm going to hold it down. I want to do a little bit into my corners. I don't want it to ooze out, so not too much. Actually, tap that. And a little bit there. Just put a little dot and spread it. And then I'm going to put some on the inside. Okay, now you need to be careful. At this point, you don't have to worry about if it's up or down because we haven't done any stamping on the front. We want to set this in the center here. We want to close it up. We want to close our left side down like that. Oops. It's not quite centered. I got off center. I don't know if I'm going to be able to lift it up. Okay, we're leaving it because it's down. It's not quite centered in the middle there. So it's going to peek out this side a little bit. So I'm going to lift this side up. And I want to get this side. Let's get it so there we go. I might have a little bit of a bubble in it because I didn't quite get it centered. Okay, so it's centered. So when it opens, there we go, voila. Now, I don't attach this part, but if you wanted to, you could stick some tape or some glue in there. I just leave it like this. I've had no problems with it like that. But now we're going to wrap around our band. So we can have this end here, wrap it loosely. Now, when you do this, do it along either the top or the bottom edge so you make sure that when you're wrapping it around straight. Okay, that way you know that it's straight. So that's another little hint there. Okay, so then we're going to fold it. Now we're going to put some adhesive here. I take my tear and tape again and put that on. And I know my leaves are upside down, but that doesn't matter yet because I can flip that around. Let's go ahead and remove that and get it stuck. I'm going to flip it around now so it's the right way. Move it to the bottom again and put that down. Okay, so that's our belly band. And now this is going to go in that belly band. So that's going to be our card front. And I'm going to attach this with dimensionals again. But I am not going to put it on the back of the piece that I'm putting on. I'm actually going to put it onto my belly band because I don't want to be putting dimensionals too far up or too low. And this works the best. I find that just putting them by the center, pretty much you've got plenty of room to do that in. If you want to put one on the center of your mat, you can, but I find that this holds perfectly, just like that. Okay, now we've got that all done, but we're going to one more step. Okay, so I've got that on there. And see how that blue just makes that a little bit brighter? Okay, we're going to remove this. And I should have done this before I put the metal in, so I don't know how this is going to work. We're going to take our peaches, and I'm going to do them in the pale papaya. They are going to show up subtly. And I'm just going to stamp some onto the front here. Just making sure I press. And they're going to kind of look like polka dots. Okay, let's get this one here towards the outside. Do these right here. And these up here, I didn't quite get on because they are over that little bit of a bump in there. Okay, so let me get my belly band and put that back on. Do have to bend it just a little bit. Oh, there we go. Okay, and look at that. Isn't that cute? So this is your card. Thanks so much. You're as sweet as a peach. And that's the inside. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Oh, and Marjorie loves explosion cards. Awesome. So that was the card for today. So if you guys have any questions about this card, you can post a question. Diane and I will answer, but I think that it was pretty self-explanatory. And until next time, everybody, happy stamping.